tena mwisho. Wewe ni mwanzo tena mwisho. Wewe ni mwanzo.
And praise the Lord. I hope you're doing well, and I hope that umekuwa na wiki tu fiti yenye imekuwa ikiendelea vizuri, and thank you so much for following and for staying tuned. Na kualika mabeshti, na kama wewe bado hujainvite beshti yako ama neighbor ama whoever is close, just tell them FOC wamefika, tune in, and today they have an amazing guest. So please stay tuned. My name is Ruth Watetu, and this is the Friends of Christ show. So I'm going to pray, and then I'm going to introduce our guest. Will introduce himself. Alafu nitawaambia tutaongelea nini leo. Everlasting Father, we want to say thank you for your goodness and for your mercy, and thank you for enabling us to have another chance to share with you people. Pray that as we begin today, you're going to begin with us all the way until the end. In the name of Jesus, we pray and believe. Amen. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Please introduce yourself.
Yes, let me say that I'm Edward Mwangi. I think it's not the first time I've been here. Yeah. This is the second time I've been here.
Yes.
And I'm a HR practitioner. And over and above that, I'm a writer. I think as I had indicated before, nimeandika 5 books. And I had said that one of them is The Delegate. The Delegate's Friend, The Tissue Boy, Dr. Inamira, and my friend Jade. Yes.
So you are a HR. Kwa hivyo kama mtu anataka kazi akuone, you are an author.
Yes.
And now you are again
because I also do motivational talk. I talk to people of all ages. I talk to the young people. I talk to middle-aged people, and even to old people. So let me say I'm also a motivational speaker, because even my books, the main message is about motivating people. Yes.
So we have 5 in one today in our show today.
Yes, all in a package.
A HR, a motivational speaker,
a
writer.
An author.
Is a writer the same as an author?
Yes, just the same. Yes. Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
The people were blessed last time you were here. We were with you the beginning of 2021.
Yes.
And I'm sure kama uko home you have read one of those books, especially The Delegate ama The Delegate's Friend. The Delegate's Friend is the latest.
Yes, it's the latest. Yes.
And you can find them in any bookshop.
Yes, they are available in any bookshop.
Wow.
And majority are even being read in high schools, in schools actually. Yes, and they have been approved by Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development as alternative readers. Yes.
Wow, so finally a face behind the name hili nakuwa hapo nyuma ya kitabu.
Yes.
So thank you once again for being with us today. And today I wanted us to talk about mental awareness, the mental health, especially to the youth. Tumefika point yenye tunasikia youths wanajua tu hivi from something so as petty as wameachana na mtu anajua mama yake amemkasirisha anaenda anajirusha kwa damu. And even people who are older and even kids, we have seen even kids committing suicide. So maybe you can tell us an introduction on mental health. Yeah.
In fact, I think every viewer, you've heard of this issue of mental health. It's actually a serious issue. Actually, last year, they indicated that within a period of 3 months, I think the month of March, April, and May, last year, 2021, 483 people committed suicide. And imagine out of 483, we had a 9-year-old kid who committed suicide simply because he was scolded over his poor performance in school. And the oldest was 76 years old who committed suicide. So 483 people committing suicide in a period of 3 months. And you know the most surprising thing is that in Central, it was the highest with 181. So that tells you that in a day, 5 people are committing. In fact, over 5 people are committing suicide. And the question that people asked is, why this? Definitely, we have the issues of. In fact, they cited like reasons like failed relationships, the financial hardships, illnesses, all those things contributing to people really committing suicide. And you know, someone just giving up and saying, I've given up. But over and above that, even the issue of the suicide, you know, you still have things that you are watching on the TV, whereby you go and find someone has killed his family. You know, he's simply just killed his family, killed his wife, killed his children, or killed the husband. And when you go and ask yourself, what is the issue? And you hear people say, it's mental health. So I think mental health is really becoming a big issue. And you can imagine 483 people. For instance, suppose it's even a terrorist act that happens, and you hear of 483 people. You know, it will be a very, very big issue, actually. Such that that's a very big number of people committing suicide or even doing whatever they are doing out of mental health. So let me say that mental health is a big issue, and I think is an issue that really requires to be addressed very seriously because it has become quite a, you know, quite a factor in terms of even things that are happening. People killing themselves, people killing families, so it's a big issue. Yes, let me say so. It's quite a big issue, mental health. Yes.
So when you spoke about that, I remembered a story that was in the papers. It was also on TV.
Yes.
On a young man who was, I think, in college. I think I'm not sure the college. Let me not mention it. And then when he came back home, he killed his entire family, including the house.
Yes.
You remember that story?
Yes.
And
In Nairobi, yes.
Yeah, and he said he was inspired by a movie called. How is this movie called? About a female assassin who goes killing people.
Yes.
So I think what we are watching and listening to is also a big issue. Kwa sababu unaona mtu ameshika gun and
anaua tu. True.
Yeah.
Yes, but you see, it's also good to understand. Because I know we've talked about mental health. You hear people talk about mental health. And maybe people may not understand in terms of what do we mean when we talk about mental health. Because, you know, we have mental health, but we also have mental illnesses. So, and those are two, you may say they are related, but they are somehow distinct. Because mental health, like now, mental health, we talk about mental health being a condition, and that condition of, no, not a condition actually, a status. That status of well-being. In terms of you being mentally well, emotionally well, your feelings are okay, socially well, that status whereby you are able to say, I'm mentally well, I'm socially well, I'm emotionally well, and that I'm able to overcome difficulties. Because when you talk about mental health, we are simply saying, do you have the resilience to overcome ups and downs? Do you have the resilience to overcome difficulties? And you see, majority of us, we may say, like we find ourselves, you are well, but the question is, are you able to overcome? Are you able to have that resilience in terms of difficulties? For instance, you are a young person, you've graduated, you had very high expectations. Nitamaliza, nitapata kazi, you know, nitaanza kudrive, I don't know, sijui, nitafanya. In fact, by ukienda upate, nimalize high school, I mean nimalize, niende campus, nimalize, by 25, I want to be driving.
Married.
In fact, I want to be married. I want to be having my own home. Then, there you are, you finish, hakuna job, haipatikani. Then you start relationships, they keep on failing. So now the question that comes in is, how strong are you to overcome? How strong are you to overcome that difficulty? Because let me tell you, the people you find majority committing suicide, they may be going to that level of the extent of mental illness. Because now mental illness is now that condition that comes in to that point where by now you feel you've lost control. You know, you are not in charge. That is now where mental illnesses come. In terms of now, even your life now starts being affected greatly because now you've become ill and you've developed a condition that is now affecting you as a person. But before that, the people who commit suicide, quite oftenly, you reach to a point where you feel like you are unable to overcome.
Yeah.
This is so much difficult for me, I can't be able to overcome. So hii maisha imekuwa ngumu, siwezi. So you go and find, even in a relationship, labda watu wameachana, you had a relationship, it has broken down, and someone feels like, apana, I cannot overcome this. Maybe you've gone, it's time for COVID, you've had someone, maybe amegonjeka, mepata financial burden, and then the feeling of, apana, this is unbearable, I can't be able to overcome. And it is at that point that you feel like you can't be able to overcome if you're not strong enough to be able to build that resilience and say, I can overcome. Then it is at that time you may contemplate doing maybe things and feel like, I can't overcome, afadhali nitoke. If not that, even committing suicide, then at that point you feel like you can't overcome. You start to feel like, maybe nikikunywa pombe, hizo shida zinatoroka. Nikifanya hii mambo, shida zinatoroka. But the point is, mental health is that resilience that you build. That resilience to overcome. That resilience to face difficulties in life. And you can stand strong and say, yes, no matter what, I can be able to overcome. So you can easily measure your mental health status by looking at how strong am I to overcome difficulties.
Measure probability of if
Yes.
I lost my job today.
That is the point. If I lost my job today, the job that I'm doing, if today I lost it, can I be able to live? Can I be able to overcome? If suppose I lost the relationships that I'm in, I lose them today. The question is, can I overcome? Ama nitasema, bila hii, afadhali nikufe.
Oh, life is hard. That's what I see them posting on social media. I can't do this anymore.
Now,
this
yes.
is too much. And then when you find out, if you find it's a form 2 girl who has gotten her heart broken by a boy in form 2.
Now, can you imagine? You go and find even mtu ako form 2, ako form 1 ama ni secondary school, ame build a relationship. Na utapata anaona hapana, hii siwezi survive, because life is not about that. It's about overcoming. And you know what? Life is not there that ati kila kitu nataka lazima nipate. Life is how it has frustrations. Life will have losses. You'll have friends, you lose them. Life, you keep on losing. There will be a lot of ups and downs in life. But the question is, how strong are you to overcome? How strong are you to overcome all these things that come? It is important because mental health is that capacity that I'm able to overcome. For instance, I even lose a close relative. You've lost a close relative. How strong are you to overcome that loss? Because your failure to overcome is what now may lead even to mental illness, whereby you build a condition, you develop into a condition that is going to affect you. So how strong are you? Yes, nimepoteza kazi out of maybe COVID. Biashara imeenda, imeharibika. You know, like I was having someone, there is a parent, he was doing very well before COVID, doing extremely well, and his kids were really going to a very high-end school. COVID ikakuja, kazi ikapotea. Now he was forced to go to shags, kupeleka watoto huko. The question is, how strong is that person? I was so impressed because the person is strong enough. Akasema wacha niende Geshagi, na nikienda I'll still build my life. You know, it's possible that person to give up.
Yeah.
And to feel like, hapana, hii maisha ni ngumu. Nilikuwa nimezoea maisha ya town, niende Geshagi mimi, I can't go. Na upate mtu kama huyo, he will end up being frustrated. So I will insist, mental health is about the resilience. How strong are you to overcome? Yes, and maybe it's also good to insist that, you know, the strength that you build to overcome is an innate strength. It builds from you. It is not a strength that you get from social media. So unajua these days, we look at social media like, ndio inatupatia solutions. Ukienda social media unaangalia, you know, you even get very wrong models. to look at in terms of how ndio naangalia. And the people you are looking at, they are wrong models actually. Resilience is about that innate power that you build in you. You build as a person in terms of saying, I'm able to overcome. Not just being looking at others, but personally, can I be able to overcome? Yes, I can build it innately from me, and I can overcome.
So
Yes.
So you build it by preparing yourself for whatever has not happened.
In fact, you build it by evaluating. You know, there is, even in management, they talk about scenario planning. You build it by even looking at, suppose this happens. If it happens, what do I do? You know, I have a job. Suppose I lose it. How can I overcome? How strong can I be? You know, suppose I lose the closest of people. How strong am I? You know, because that is what you have to build. You build that strength of overcoming. And you know, that strength of overcoming is even what actually, when we go to church simply tells us and teaches us to overcome. When we are told to imitate Jesus, Jesus was able to overcome. He overcame a lot of trials. He overcame a lot of difficulties. And lastly, he overcame the most painful experience of being crucified. So when we go to church, we are being told, be able to overcome. Overcoming is the greatest thing. And that is what will give us mental health. That no matter the situation, I'm able to stand tall. I'm able to look forward and say, there is still hope.
So there's a question that I normally hear people asking.
Yes.
Because I've ever seen of many people, especially men, even ladies, who when the relationship gets tough, kama vile umetupatia example of the friend who lost his job.
Yes.
So the wife just says, mimi hizi mashida badala nijiue, ama the man, anaona me, let me just live. Asubuhi moja ama jioni watoto wakitokea shule wanapata baba hayuko. So which is better? Ni heri atoroke ama ni heri akae ajiue?
Now, what I would say is that we first agree that kujiua is not a solution.
True.
In fact, that is not an answer. That one, it may appear like an easier way of handling a problem, but you haven't handled the problem. What you've decided is to let the problem overcome you, and you disappear out of it. So killing is not the solution. Dying is not the solution. Committing suicide is not the solution. And then also, I wouldn't say that going away would be the better solution because we look at it from the point of, you know, there is nothing that is perfect.
Yeah, it's true.
So most important is about withstanding. I'm not saying that if you are, let's say, in a toxic relationship, that unakaa hapo kama unasema nitakaa tu acha ni no.
Let me build my mental health.
Now uanze kusema let me build my mental health. Tumeambiwa mental health ni resilience.
Let me create my resilience.
Let me overcome. Because again, you know, you may be strong enough, but the other person doesn't have the good mental health. So again, we are talking about if a situation is so difficult, like in a relationship and you're having a toxic relationship, there could be a better way of handling. Make your effort to make it work. But if it reaches a point and you feel, no, this is toxic, this is not healthy, I think there is a mature way of saying no. And saying, apana, I have a life, we have a life, we can't be able to continue, maybe, and then you look for alternative ways. Yes, but we are not saying that getting an easier way of niko kwa relation ni difficult na hama niko natoka no. But there is the aspect of resilience, but resilience for a better cause. Yes, si kuvumilia. Unajua uwezi sema ati nitavumilia kama nimefinyiliwa, ati tumeambiwa juu ya resilience alafu nivumilia, hapana. Because again, you may be resilient for something that has negative effect and consequences to you. I think resilience is about enduring and overcoming something for a greater cause. You see, for a greater cause. Not for a lesser cause, but enduring so that you're able to overcome for a greater cause. You see, like now, for instance, you're in a bad relationship, someone who is very brutal. We may not say that you are able to overcome and staying there. But for the greater cause, maybe for instance for your health, for the health of the children, saying wacha maybe tukae kando, it may be a better option because that is the greater cause. Yes.
Okay, so I've remembered a story I ever saw on Tuko.
Yes.
On Tuko News, zile story huku anga hapo. A while back.
Yes.
There was a lady who was there who has gone through so much. Then she was rejected by everyone. The husband threw her out. The parents wakamkataa, the siblings. And at some point she goes to a rescue home, and then when she's there, when she's raped on the way.
Yes.
So when she goes to hospital, she's given ARVs. So at some point she feels like mimi sasa nimefika mwisho, and she takes all the medicine trying to commit suicide, but she doesn't die. So she's there crying, she's not even able to speak, she's just crying akisemanga mimi hakuna mtu ananitaka, hata shetani alinikataa. Juu nilijaribu kukufa.
Yes.
Asikufi.
Yes.
So what would you say to such a person?
I think the most important thing, you see, you can be rejected by everyone.
Yeah.
The world can even appear like it has rejected you. But I think the most critical part is, do you reject yourself? Because others have rejected. They have rejected you. And you see, this is what I'm building, or I'm insisting on. As a person, what is your definition of you as a person? Because, you know, you can live a life whereby you accept to be defined by others. You accept to be defined by others. So, like, if others say we hate you, you are bad, you kombaya, you are siju nakaje, the question is, if they say that, what about you as a person? What do you say and what do you agree? You see, because the way you perceive yourself, the way you respond, the way you carry yourself, the way you judge yourself is very, very important. Very, very important. Because you may be rejected by everyone. You may be rejected by parents. You may be rejected by the world. You may be ukienda mahali unaona tu watu wanakukataa. But most important is wewe unajikataa. Because if you kijikataa, I think that is the worst. And you see, that's why I talked about in it. You as a person, mimi najibeba aje. Maisha ni ngumu, but mimi najibeba aje. Because it is important. And kujibeba, it's about what goes in your mind in terms of when they say that, does it affect you? What goes into expression of it in terms of emotions? And you see, like now, for instance, I usually ask people, ukienda kwa barabara, mwenda wazimu, upatana na mwenda wazimu, akutusi, very serious words, akutusi kabisa. Will you start to cry?
No.
Why will you not cry?
Because he doesn't know what he's saying. He's not okay.
He's not okay. Do you know, surprisingly, ukitusiwa na mwenda wazimu, you may even start to laugh.
Yeah.
In fact, people will laugh it out like, umekelewa majina mzito na huyo, you know.
Yeah.
But then, suppose, then on the same way, you go and find someone, or your friend, akutusi the same words.
I will take it deeply.
Good. You'll take it deeply. Because it's about how do I perceive? How do I perceive that which comes? If I accept to perceive it negatively, it is going to affect me. Like now, rafiki yako akikutusi, the same words, mwendazimu amekutusi. Your reaction is going to be so different because the way you perceive, you are going to perceive that. Then you contemplate like, kwa nini amenitusi hivyo? You know, then your emotions start to be affected. It is the same thing. If an issue comes, the world rejects me, the parents reject me, situations are difficult. How do I perceive it in my mind? If I perceive it with a lot of pessimism, it is going to affect me. And that is why I may find like, hii dunia inanichukia, hata Mungu ananichukia, how can even God allow this to happen to me?
Yeah.
And then the moment you start to build that, even the same way, even in relationship, how can he do that to me? How? After all that I have done, how can he do that? How can God take away this person? How can he do that? You know, the moment you take that and it starts to build some negative energy, your body is going to build negative energy, and that negative energy is going to take you into the direction that you are going to do something that is negative, something that is not helpful. So for such a lady, hata ukikataliwa na dunia, usijikatae wewe mwenyewe. Usijikatae, angalia mbele useme no. No, even if they reject me, I have a purpose. Because you have a purpose as a person. I have a purpose in life, because the realization of purpose in life is what may give you strength. That I have a reason to live. No matter what people may say. We have found people who end up being rejected by parents. They even end up being rejected by the world. And you go and find those people succeeding. They ultimately succeed. Why do they succeed? Because they realize, I have a purpose in life as a person. And this purpose is not to be defined by others. Because when you let others define you in terms of you are either good, you are bad, you know, if you let them define you, you are going to lose that purpose, and the life is going to be meaningless. Yes, because the meaning of life is not defined by others. It's about you as a person. Yes.
So could we say that maybe the community has in a way contributed to this? Because tukiangalia the example you've given us of the 9-year-old who committed suicide, I've also remembered another story that was going around social media towards, I think, the end of last year, about a girl in high school. No, in junior school, who was bullied. Kakaambiwa she's too black, she's ugly, and she ended up committing suicide. I'm not sure in which country, but it was not in Kenya. So this person maybe has not reached to that age where she knows it's not all about my parents accepting me, it's not all about my friends accepting me. So could we say maybe the community it's the community that has led to high cases of mental illness?
Yes, I think the community definitely has greatly, in fact, affected or caused the high levels of mental illnesses. It has. Even as you talk about others, but I would really say that the community has really made a big contribution. Because, for instance, look at the way we are bringing up children. Look at the way the people are being brought up. Maybe you are bringing up children, showing them that life is easy. So whatever they want, they can get it. So, like, you are showing them life is very easy. If I want a toy, hata kama sina, afadhali nifulize ili ninunulie mtoto toy asikasirike. So mtoto anataka hii, unaona, afadhali nifanye whatever I can. You can imagine ukifuliza mtoto anataka chipo na sausage. Huna, afadhali ufulize, you buy. So what are we doing? We are teaching these children that life is very easy.
Yeah.
When we teach them life is easy, and indeed we know life si rahisi, maisha ni ngumu. Maisha ni ngumu, but we are showing them like life is very easy. See, even the social media that we over rely on. You look at social media and you get someone who have really succeeded. Unaona, is a 25-year-old na anasema he is a millionaire. And so, because we think life is very easy, I also want to shape my life hata mimi ikuwe rahisi sana, just like someone whom I have seen. So the society ends up showing even the young people who are growing up like it is very easy to get into whatever you want, you can get it. That aspect of trying to show kids that life is very easy. What happens when they go out there and they find indeed life is difficult? You know, even in terms of relationship, we are showing like we are showing the kids like it is very easy. You know, someone was making fun and saying we are bringing up kids in a way that you know, the to baba and to mama. Tunalea ni kababa asikasirike. So mtoto akikasirika utaki akasirike. You can do anything aki asikasirike, because unajua akikasirika sijui anaweza fanya mambo kubwa sana. Like, I think there's something that went around in social media about a kid. They were in a supermarket. Alislap mama yake kumwambia hata mnunulia toy. Alimslap. And the mother could not do anything. Now, huyo mtoto akigrow, because the kid will grow, atoke nje. Is life about what I want, that I get it? So what happens then tomorrow when this kid realizes, when they grow, that whatever I want, I can't get it? So this kid can end up then doing much. Atachukia watu, akienda mahali anataka kazi, wakimnyima, anaona wenye wamemnyima ndio wamekosea. because amefikiria maisha inafaa kuwa hivyo. So society has really failed, and maybe I really like to say the way we are bringing up children is very, very critical. I usually say there is a psychologist who said that mtoto akizaliwa anakuwa kama wanaita tabla rasa. Anakuwa like a white paper in the mind. It's like a a clean white paper. Then what happens is that anakuanga, unajua, permanent marker. Anaanza kuandika vile anaona with a permanent marker. Akiangalia anaona kwa nyumba watu ni kelele na kupigana, anaandika kelele. Lazima ufanye kelele. if anaona lazima nikiitisha kitu lazima ipatikane, lazima ikuje, anaandika. Lazima if I want something I have to get it. Na akiandika na permanent marker. Wakati anafika from adolescent, those kids now start to express themselves. Whatever he wrote, if I want this, I must get it. So kutoa hiyo itakuwa ngumu sana. So I think the society has really, we have really failed as a society. And then maybe there's something else, is that mental health is a new thing to all of us. Atujui huku, atujuangi kama mtu ako na shida. Unajua whether ni mental health, tunaona wewe unajifanya mental illness. We don't appreciate the aspect of mental health, and I think that is where we have failed as a society. Yes.
Hey, you've talked of that now. I've remembered that. Okay.
Yes.
Sisi tukiwa wadogo, hata ungeangalia mama yako akuwa amekuwa, you couldn't even look at your mom straight. Na hata hujakosea. Now I'm imagining if I went to the extent of slap. Oh,
let me tell you, your mom, hata ungeangalia uone akona pesa na amebeba pesa.
Yeah, true.
Na unaona akona pesa serious, but you cannot dare umwambie mom, si unibaie chipu. You see, hiyo it is good spirit. Unaona pesa but anakuonyesha hii si ya chipu.
Yeah.
It can't. Watoto wa siku hizi hata atatoa kwa pasa ende.
Anachukua.
Atachukua.
Nibaie chipo, sina pesa. You cannot even the butu to say na hiyo.
Let me tell you, could not uambie mzazi ati pesa ati hii si una pesa.
But the kids today, hey.
The kids today, let me tell you, atakatalia hapo akisema. And we think that is the best thing. Unajua mpaka mtoto you know, it has become like the parents have become the kids, because wao ndio wana demand, wanasema vile wanataka. Alafu wewe unafanya. You know, I usually even get shocked, like where I work. You go and find even application for a job. Mzazi ndiye analeta application, anaacha mtoto kwa nyumba. Mzazi analeta application, analetea mtoto. Mtoto amekaa tu kwa nyumba. Because the kids' expectation is that everything is easy, and you mom, where you gonna responsibility, peleka application. Imagine. And that, what sense of responsibility are you showing? So this kid, you are instilling a very, very bad, you know, a very, very bad attribute, and this person will be, the mental health will be at its lowest. They will never be able to overcome any problem. The smallest of it, they will be able to overcome. Then, ndio maana unaenda unapata, these people, even when they grow up, they reach to the age of even marrying. Mtu ataoa, lakini akioa ameolea mama yake. Yes, that's why you go and find, unasikia mtoto, hata kijana ameoa, anaenda akisubua, anaenda anaambia mama yake, mam, sasa ananisubua, si umwambie, mwambie sijui nini, because they can't be able to live outside their mothers and their parents cocoon. They can only live, hawajafunzwa kusurvive on their own. Someone must be there with them. Kama ni kuapply kazi, lazima mamake ama babake akue. You know, there is even some case I was very shocked that unaona mpaka mzazi ameleta mtoto interview. Amemleta interview, anagojea. Unauliza, mam, hata umekuja interview? Hapana, nimeleta huyu. Imagine. So now there's a society, I think we have really failed. Yes.
So now that we have already come to that level, maybe you can ask kama sisi wenye bado we are still not there. Tunaweza tukaraise. Me I don't think I'd bembeleza akida ati mami ta sina. And then I think that's the best way. So what age is mostly affected by mental illness?
health.
Yeah, mental health.
Let me say that, mental health is like, I may not say that a particular age is more affected, because mental health, so like now, among the cases that were recorded that had committed suicide last year within a period of 3 months was a 9-year-old. Meaning that mental health, it may affect all the ages. Maybe the only issue is that in terms of its mental health being expressed, in terms of mental illnesses being expressed, they may start to be expressed maybe from the age of adolescent. But from the time the kids are growing, you may rightly say that it is like an incubation. The incubation. Because when the kids are growing, they perceive the world. Like Erickson, the psychologist, would say, when a kid is immediately born, what they try to build is trust. If not trust, mistrust. So they want to build that trust or mistrust. Then after trust, and trust is about, can I really trust the people that I live with? That is why mtoto kama huyo, because analilai na the parents, analilai na the caregivers, build that trust. Hawezi ji-express, hawezi sema what I want, but they build that trust or mistrust. When they grow again, after that, they start to build autonomy. And autonomy is about being able now to start to rely on themselves. Or if not that, then they build shame. In the opposite of it. All the way to the age of adolescent. And on adolescent, he talks about now the identity. The building of identity. Now, at that age, that is when now you start to act. What you have carried along, what you have perceived in your mind, what you have perceived to be life. So that is when you start to act. So now that is like now, whatever you have, it was under incubation, it starts now to express itself. And that is why even now relationships, if you perceived relationships like they require to be done like this, you start now to express it at that age. So when you start to express it, the demands of life continues to increase as the age goes up.
True.
So as the demands now continue to increase, definitely now the disposition to mental health now becomes more real. Because now, nikifika adolescent, the demands are greater than the demands I had when I was young. So that is when now I start to feel like, siwezi achieve hii. Siwezi achieve. So by the time now, maybe you reach adolescent, middle level adolescent, the demands are extreme now, they are unbearable. Maybe now you become more susceptible to now even committing suicide, because maybe now at that time you feel I can't be able to achieve anything now. So any age is susceptible, but as the demands continue to increase, the susceptibility to mental health becomes more real. It becomes more real. That is why you may go and find, for instance, maybe people who are married, you go and find they are doing weird things in terms of committing suicide or doing whatever, because the responsibilities are more, but their sense to overcoming is not there. So they feel, no, I can't be able to overcome. Yes, so any age is susceptible, but as the demands of life continues to increase, the more the susceptibility of a person falling into mental illnesses comes in, depending now with those demands of life. But your capacity to overcome, most important. Yes.
So as we come to the end of our show today, maybe you can tell us, how now do we build our mental health? Because kuna mtu anafikirianga, me I think I can deal with it. I think I can handle it. But now when you face it, inakuwa totally different. It's not how I expected it.
True.
So how do we prepare, and how do we, juu labda kuna mtu anaona, or maybe you can start with that, and then you can tell us someone who is watching and wants to help a friend or a sister, ama mtu kababa mahali, how will they assist them? But maybe you can tell us first, how now do I prepare you? At the back of your mind you think, me even I can live without that person, I can live without that job. But when it happens, it affects us a lot.
I think to build mental health, if you want to build mental health, I think the first thing that you really need to do if you want to build mental health, I will start by saying building your cognitive capacity. Cognitive capacity, I'm saying your thoughts. How do I perceive things? When something happens, how do I perceive it? Because thoughts are very, very powerful. We never know the power of thoughts, but thoughts are very, very powerful. How do I perceive something? What thoughts do I build over it? What thoughts do I build over my life? What thoughts do I build? Natafuta kazi sipati. What thoughts do I build? What thoughts do I have about the relationship I'm in? When you build positive thoughts, when you build thoughts that are powerful, those thoughts will start to influence you. That is why the thoughts you have are very, very powerful, because they will generate some energy. Like now, if you have thoughts of negative thoughts, like, mimi job siwezi pata job. Even if you go for an interview, your body will not have the energy because you already have negative thoughts. So what you need to build, and you ensure that these thoughts, the predominant thoughts that you have, they are thoughts that are able to be very powerful, and they are thoughts that can build your life. Ushaijua, someone can even be like you are in a relationship, but you have very negative thoughts about the relationship. You can be having negative thoughts constantly about something. Siwezi pata hii job, siwezi fanya hii. But if you start to build positive thoughts, they will build that power. They build the willpower, and they build the capacity to overcome. So if you are faced with something, build positive thoughts. Have those thoughts being very powerful, and ensure that the predominant thoughts you always have, they are thoughts that can help you to overcome. That's why I usually say, like I was telling someone, if you go and you are kept in a church, in a quiet place, and you are alone, and you are told, don't touch your phone, don't think much, let your mind be free. The question is, what thoughts will start to run in your mind? Don't even pray. You're in a quiet place, just keep quiet. What thoughts will start to run in your mind?
I think that's one I think I'll try that. Nijifungie mahali without my phone.
Without your phone. Usiombe. Don't start to pray because you start to get distraction. Just keep quiet and start to think. What thoughts will be in your mind? Will they start to be negative thoughts? Will they be powerful thoughts? Will they be positive thoughts? The predominant thoughts are very, very critical. Build predominant thoughts. The other aspect is the emotional aspect. Build positive emotions, because emotions are important if you want to have good mental health. Build positive emotions, and that will be very, very critical. And then also the social aspect. If you want to have good mental health, have good social interactions. Interact with the people who help you to grow. Have role models who help you to grow. Usianze kubuild watu, usianze kuwa social na watu wenye hawakuhelp. Unajua unaweza kuwa na marafiki hawezi kusaidia. So have friends who can help you. Don't look at social media as the source of motivation. Usiangalie social media, the status of watu hizo at social media ndio itakusaidia. Build yourself socially. Unajua kuna watu umekosana na mtu, unaenda kwa social media to seek for solutions. Watu wanakwambia achana na hao, huyo ni useless, wachana sijui hiyo usingangane hata you got and get the negative influence. Like that kid you mentioned, and he said he watched a movie. So you can imagine he exposed himself to something that was negative socially. So your social interaction means a lot, because you may get the wrong motivation. Siku hizi hata unapata watu wanakosana, unaenda kuuliza nini support, in fact opinion kwa social media. You won't get standard support. So it is important. And lastly, if you want to build the resilience and to have good mental health, unaona kwenda kanisa, it is very, very important. Going to church. Because when you go to church, as I said, you are taught about how to overcome.
Yeah.
And pastors, preachers insist on how you are able to overcome. It is very important. That is why it may be difficult when upate mtu labda ako kwa praise and worship ama kwa choir, singing very well, very happy, then the next minute usikia amecommit suicide. Mtu mwenye anacommit suicide utasikia alikuwa kwa choir, praise and worship, ama alikuwa kwa choir, alafu usikia ametoka, hayuko sasa, kanisa hakuji sana, unajua sasa anaelekea the wrong route. Because in church, you are being taught how to overcome. So mental health is important to build it. When you go to church, you are reminded, I think you are taught and reminded how to overcome, and it's possible to overcome. So that is important. Yes.
So maybe to the final question, as you give us the final remarks on
Yes.
how now do you advise someone who is already at that point, mwenye maybe had to watch, lakini there's someone who is watching, and as we spoke, akafikiria tu mtu, there's someone at the back of their mind, like, nani. So how do they help that person?
I think it's important. I talked about mental health. Mental health is okay. But you know, we reach a point about the mental illnesses. And you know, mental illness is now that condition whereby someone now starts to get affected. And they start to get affected by something. It starts to affect, you go and find maybe the mood disorders of a person have started to change. Someone who was very happy, all of a sudden, anything small, anakuwa irritated, the mood disorder anaanza kuwa affected. You go and find maybe someone, you have some patterns that have changed, like you used to eat, sasa unasikia sitaki kukula, you know, I don't want to eat, sina appetite, sina usingizi. You go and find now someone has started to be affected by that. When you start to realize and to recognize such, the mood disorders, the change of social pattern, someone who was very good interacting with people may change, it is good to recognize that now that person could be falling into mental illness. And it is good to take measures way in advance. Because these people, the stages go even from that stage where it starts all the way now to becomes very worse now, a worse issue. To the extent that you go and find even mtu, apart from social patterns, hata hakuwa nakunywa, ameanza kukunywa, imeanza kuwa worse, and we take it for granted like, akikunywa, huku watu hukunywa. Hata baba yake huwa anakunywa, sijui watu huku ni walevi, watu huku, there is nothing you can do. But that person could be now falling into serious mental illness. So the most important is that it is good even to seek for counseling. We have counselors. Like if you go to even the general hospitals, like the County Referral Hospital of Nyeri, it is possible to go and you find psychiatrists. We have counselors. There are counselors there. You can go there and start to seek for assistance. Because it's good to seek for assistance quite in advance before you let a case go beyond. Because we know, you know, the Africans, we are very low in terms of looking at and addressing mental illnesses. But if you go and find something falling in, or someone falling into that, it's important to seek for assistance before it becomes worse. Don't assume someone is a drunkard, ufikirie he just been a drunkard.
Tanguende tao.
Ati huyu alienda tao, huyu wakati alioa hakuwa nakunywa, alianza kukunywa kidogo, now hata hafanyi anything kukunywa, you know. Huyu mtu alikuwa very friendly, saizi he doesn't interact with people. Huyu mtu anajifungia kwa nyumba, ati mnafikiria anapenda kusoma sana, hataki interaction za watu. It is important to seek that, you know, seek help, and I think you'll be helped. Because as I said, mental illness can resort now to mental health poor mental health can resort to mental illness. And now once mental illness becomes so deep into you, it will now affect, and even for you as a person, you know, you can feel like there is a condition that comes in and it greatly affects me. Unaweza kuwa unakaa, you know, you only see people walking, but wamebeba shida. Maybe you have something that nags you, something that affects you, and something that you carry along. Even as you want, maybe I want to achieve this, but deep in mind, there is something that comes, tells you no. It pulls you down. Or there is even an event that happened to you, it keeps on affecting you maybe as a person. It's important to seek for help. Otherwise, you may end up falling into mental illness and into a condition that may be far much worse. Alafu tukiona si tunafikiria huyu aliamua kuwa mlevi. Yes, ama aliamua kuwa the person is never stable in a relationship. Unajua ako kwa hii relationship, after some time ako kwa hii, after some time ako kwa hii, and we think it is okay, but it could be a problem that requires some assistance. Yes.
So maybe the closing remark.
Now the closing remark to the viewers, I'll just tell you that it's important to build the resilience, mental health, for us to attain mental health, because life is hard. Life is not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, and it's only going to be harder. So the most important thing is we build resilience. We build that capacity to overcome. We build that willpower that you're able to overcome difficulties. No matter how they come, we build them. There's going to be breakups in relationships. There's going to be failed relationships. There is going to be financial difficulties. There is going to be a lot of frustrations in terms of what I want, I don't get it. But most important, as a viewer, let's build resilience. Let's build the capacity and the willpower to overcome. And let's look at the future with a lot of hope and knowing that what I build in my mind, what I build in my willpower will drive me to overcome. Let me not take the easier route of trying maybe to give up. Let me not take the easier route of, maybe even kusema, let me do this so that shida initokee, which is negative. Build the willpower, build the resilience. And even for the young people, life is not easy, and life, you'll not achieve things easily. You'll not get a job, get a car, and get a house. It doesn't come easily. It is gradual. It is hard work. Build the resilience. Don't compare your life with others. Build your life as your own, because you are a unique human being. You are created uniquely. Work towards your life. Work towards overcoming the difficulties you face as a person. Work towards that. And at the end of it all, you will be stronger to overcome. And you will not fall into, situations that maybe can bring other negative effects. Yes.
So thank you so much for joining us on our show today. I hope you've been taking notes. Sijui kama umekuwa ukiandika. I've been taking notes on my phone. Lakini kuna kitu moja imenifurahisha sana juu I think mimi huwa sishtuki sana na mambo. Mimi vile tu mambo itatokea, but I think I'll try sitting somewhere alone without my phone and without any distraction. Nione nini hizi ninafikirianga, is usually on my mind. So you can also try that at home, and you can tell someone else to try that. And if you are not able to watch from the beginning na ukatupata katikati na unasikia kama kuna kitu limisi, you can just go and look for it on Facebook. This was going on Breaking the Limits TV, on Rwanda Radio on 1.7 FM. Thank you muna muthikiriria ndi gukorwo mitambo-ini omothe, and on Breaking the Limits TV page ya Facebook inaitwa pia Breaking the Limits TV, na YouTube page inaitwa Bishop Paul G. Wanjohi. So please go look for those videos. You can go look for something on YouTube wakati uko free, ama Facebook. Take some notes. Hizo ni vitu zenye we get once in a while, and we don't know when we'll get this guest again. Unaona alikuwa huku last year January, and we've had him sasa this year Feb. So please go look for that information and share with a friend. And thank you to those who are our active members. Moses Njoke kutoka Karatina, huyo ni fan wetu mkubwa sana. Mungu akubariki sana. And I'm going to end our show here. Na pia Baba Ndongo kutoka Kiamwadhi, Mungu akubariki for always staying tuned. And you, our viewer, God bless you. Take care of your mental health, build resilience, and have a beautiful week and a fruitful week ahead. Bye.